Ladies and gentlecolds, welcome to the show, Unova Studies, with your host, Unova Brony, and this is my review of Games Ponies Play. To confess, this is one of my least favorite episodes of the series, and yet it is somewhat entertaining for me, and probably even more for you viewers. I view this episode as a disappointment to Polsky's previous writings in the series, as it is convoluted, misguided, and confusing at points. I'd expected better from my favorite writer, but I guess we all have our off-seasons. The main point of Games Ponies Play was to get the ball rolling for the Equestria Games to occur in familiar grounds, or in this case, a hardly covered location. The Crystal Empire doesn't let us look into many of its facilities that aren't plot important, and we don't see particularly interesting denizens to feel comfortable in the locale. But you've heard all of this from other people before, right? Well, here's the thing. What investment do we have to propel this city to becoming the host of the games this year and not next year, as it shows them being burdened by surprises and aren't ready for a prepared showing? The Empire as a setting is not motivating enough for me to grow attached to the episode if it is like this. Continuing on this train of thought, do the main six qualify as appropriate welcoming committee members for the Crystal Empire? Their take to woo the inspector is by performing a cheerleader act. Why not go with something history-oriented, as we know they learned from the Crystal Empire's lore from the premiere? Plus, there was the problem of our misguided Rainbow Dash taking the Crystal Empire and imprinting her concerns, worries, and misled theories of her hometown, who hasn't had the Equestria Games hosting just that one time during her youth, to the Crystal Empire with similar sympathies. Despite it being the flaw Rainbow has to go through in the episode, it could be considered a Rainbow Dash episode for the focus it had in the plot. And since the evidence is there to convince me of it being so, this is one of the weakest arcs the character has gone through in the series. It is a shame that it wasn't clear on how often the games occurred in Equestria in terms of time, because the way she says it is that one time was the last chance Cloudsdale could have gotten the games. But now, when the next chance rolls around, she sympathizes with the Crystal Ponies, with whom she hadn't connected as much as her own home, but as a favor to the princess and some compassion to the until now lost empire. I guess she doesn't show some of her loyalty towards her old companions of the past then. Finally, the ending for this episode brought some ire to me, as I was initially confused at Miss Harshwinny's disposition to Cadence and the main six's failure to meet up with her, and of how she ventured into the city all alone, being mistreated by the elements. She being in the spa asked to distress herself of the awful visit to the Crystal Empire is a clear mark of how bad her day was. But then she allows Miss Peachbottom to relate her experience that was supposed to be hers. This supposedly gives her the best view that isn't her own about the Empire, and this is what grants the hosting of the games to go to the Crystal Empire. It can be reasonable for a judge to let someone else intervene in their shallow judgments of suitable areas for the games. However, here's my beef with it. Miss Harshwinny takes Miss Peachbottom's advice, but we don't see Miss Harshwinny do her job of critiquing the city. As a result, we don't know how Miss Harshwinny would have reacted to the main six performance. Not to mention, why should she weigh a stranger's opinion over her own professional opinion? It is not fine to delegate her role as judge over to a guest from some foreign place with no training of being a judge and such. But this episode isn't unbearable. The comedy, while weak, can still get me to chuckle at some great points, such as Rainbow's crash into the spa's roof, while others fall flat. Look to Pinky's attempts at being funny, looking so stupid and nonsensical in the unfunny way. To be frank, the official start of the games arc is middle-of-the-road material technically, but I was greatly displeased with it getting more praise than Just for Psychics for being more entertaining and tolerable. In all honesty, this was the worst way they could have started things, with a misleading title having people back then in Season 3's airing believing the games would happen then, only to be disappointed as that plot would continue into Season 4. Games Ponies Play just grew fan expectations with the idea that the staff would have time to build upon what they had in Season 3 for the better. But that's just my view on the matter. Now then, audience, I will join you next time as we go into more positive material with Season 4's first entry in the games arc, Flight to the Finish. Till then, Unova is signing off.
Happiness is the virtue.